So welcome. This is introducing you to what we call the Wellness Project. And this relates to raising healthy families, perhaps to performance levels of fitness, even with Olympic mentors, and to aging gracefully at all stages in life. So what is this wellness? Well, we say it's living our lives consciously in ways that improve our health and our well-being. So different kinds of health and wellness strategies include, why is this important? Well, why is it important to care about health and wellness? Because approximately 50% of the US population has some kind of a chronic disease, which begins to create an epidemic. 86% of healthcare costs are attributable to chronic diseases. And as we change behavior in regard to health habits, it can be difficult and complex. And people don't really understand this change process. So many people struggle with poor health and vitality because they lack maybe the motivation, maybe the skills, maybe the knowledge and resources to make the sustained changes in lifestyle habits. So where are you on this continuum? All the way from, at the very far left, disease or disease developing, to the very right side, which is high-level wellness and wellness developing. So let's look at this a little more carefully. If we start on the left side with disease, where people are on multiple medications, pure quality of life, the potential becomes that the limited body has limited function. And we gradually look at improving that. So maybe it's poor health where there's drug therapy and maybe there's surgery, maybe there's losing normal function. Perhaps it's at neutral where there are really no symptoms, but the nutrition's a little inconsistent, exercise is a little sporadic. Maybe health is not a high priority. But as we move over to the green side, we look at good health, where regular exercise and good nutrition, wellness education are in place, and there's really minimal nerve interference, but maybe that inspires what's really furthest on the right, which is optimal health. 100% function with continuous development, active participation in wellness lifestyles. So let's look at some of the strategies for this health and wellness. There are 5 lifestyle factors that have been shown to reduce the risk. Specifically, this is for type 2 diabetes, but this may very well apply to many other kinds of chronic factors. Number 1, having a healthy diet and environment, and of course, defining what that is. Number 2, keeping an ideal body weight, and again, defining what is ideal. Being physically active, not smoking, and minimizing use of alcohol. So these 5 lifestyle factors have been shown to reduce the risk for type 2 diabetes, where in men who have adopted all 5 of these healthy lifestyle factors, they've lowered their risk for developing diabetes by 72%. And in women, they have lowered their risk for developing diabetes by 84%. So what are the problems? Well, first of all, we're probably not eating to our very best wonderful capacity. Problem number 2 is that even when we think we're eating well, healthy food is not as nutritious as it once was. So the question is, does commercialism contribute to the poor quality of our food? And maybe it also contributes to things like cravings for sweets. So what are the impacts of this commercialism on our foods? Well, 90% of people are dependent upon commercial interests for their food supply. And I would guess it's probably even higher than that. The farmer is eager to grow 2 ears of corn in place of 1. So he may use things like chemical fertilizers. The effect of such chemicals may reduce the nutritional value of those 2 ears below the value of 1 ear that was grown on organically fertilized soil. But the 2 ears bring a higher price. So it is with many food processing, almost without exception. So profit may very well determine the method of preparation. Problem number 3, families are generally less active. So they need fewer calories, but maybe you're taking in the same amount. We have sedentary lifestyles. All of the nutrients we need must therefore come from fewer calories with this sedentary lifestyle. And problem number 4 is there is known contamination of our food supply. There are many, many changes in the late 1980s in particular that are continuing to impact current generations. So what are the results? Well, result number 1 is obesity, which is really increasing globally, and it increases the list of about 80 different medical conditions. Result number 2 is we're surrounded by toxins. Some of those may be heavy metals. They may be in our water and what is around us. We are subjected to the pesticides, which may be in our yards or it may be in the foods we're eating, to different kinds of industrial chemicals, and then to different kinds of pathogens. So as we look at lasting lifestyle changes, result number 3 is we need better wellness education. What does it really mean? And that is to encourage ourselves to support better diet plans, to encourage supplementation, which may not have been the case decades ago, but because of what we see is happening in our food supply, supplementation becomes more and more an essential part of our healthy lifestyle. Supporting cleaner agricultural practices, and then educating our healthcare professionals as well, of course, as ourselves. So what if we were able to depend on our doctors and pharmaceuticals when we're actually sick? And what if we could be even better educated so that we didn't need them so much? What a change that might be. So we've been educated that our default resource is to ask the doctor. So the challenge is that they're educated to treat, but not to prevent. So are there any other kinds of choices that we all might be relying on before we need to go to the doctor for those wonderful fixes that they have available? What are some of these other choices? Well, one of them might be using a chiropractor. Another might be relying on massage therapy. Another might be acupuncture. Another might be other forms of non-Western medicine. Perhaps detox and different kinds of colon therapy. And perhaps functional medicine, which we will talk about in a minute. What are some of the other choices so that we can be proactive about things that we can do something about before we need to rely on the resources of our physicians? So what's functional medicine? Well, it's an approach to healthcare that focuses on addressing the underlying causes of disease and dysfunction rather than just treating the symptoms. So focusing on, for example, nutrition, exercise, stress management, supplementation, and also another very interesting connection, and that is that I'll use a crazy example, but you may have something that you think is going on in your ear, but the fact is it could be your right knee that is causing it, one of your other internal organs that may be causing whatever it is that's going on. So functional medicine is an approach to the holistic looking for the root cause. So here's some of the simple steps to start the wellness journey. Well, one of them is to become a better educated consumer of food ingredients, looking at what's on labels. One choice can be water, actually reaching for water and not necessarily sodas. And I just saw something recently that even the very wise people are looking to have their water in their own private containers rather than trying to drink water out of plastic bottles, which may have an impact also. creating a non-toxic home, looking at the laundry, the fragrances, the things that we breathe on our pillows, that we absorb on our skin through our clothes, and looking at only safe ingredients that we actually apply to our skin, whether it is personal skincare or any other treatments or things that we use directly on our skin. These are some of the things that we can begin to do with our own wellness journeys. So where do we start? Well, living our life consciously in ways that can improve our health and well-being can actually start at home. It's an alertness and a being aware within the family. So we start checking for the sugars, and incidentally, sugar can be labeled in lots of different ways. Looking to be active, to move, to get up and do that walk after a meal, or put onto the agenda that we actually have a broader level of physical activity. Trying to decipher labels of things that we read. And then probably as valuable as anything is finding healthy partners, because trying to do these things on our own can be very daunting. So people say this is what's important to them. First of all, they're looking for choices that are safe. They want to make sure that whatever it is we ingest or use around us is safe enough for ourselves and for our kids and our grandkids and our pets. And we're looking for choices that are proven. What are some of the other things that we know about our customers? Well, we know that our customers are smart. They like to do their homework, which can also often be very confusing. But they're also very busy. So too much internet surfing or label reading can often lead to paralysis because there's so much conflicting information. But once they find things that meet their standards, they can then become lifetime customers. So here's an invitation. If this sounds like you, and if there's anything in here that's of interest, and you'd like to know what we have personally found that checks these boxes, reach out to us, and we're happy to talk with you privately. Here's to a wellness lifestyle.